welcome to another episode of the Studio 78 podcast. I am your host, Nishay from NishaySnow.com. Welcome to another episode. Thank you if you're a returning listener, and welcome if you're new. To find show notes for this page, of course, just go over to NACHESNOW.com/64. All of the links and all of the notes will be right over there. Okay, so who do we have today? We have Lesley-Anne Billups from Elegantly Charming Events, and she is a wedding and event planner. I had her actually do my event earlier this year when I launched the Life Cleanse Journal. So if you've never heard me talk about that, definitely head on over to my website, and it's right in the navigation, and you can see a little video on why I created it and how it can help you. But I wanted it to be, it was interesting. It was like around my 40th birthday. So I just wanted to have like this really special event and launch with friends, family, and people who follow me online. And she helped to make it happen, which was amazing. But I was just really impressed with her and her professionalism, just how she handled not only herself, but the team, and kind of managed me, kind of really, maybe not difficult client, but demanding, because as a designer, I'm like, okay, I need it to look like this, and I really want that. But she handled everything beautifully. So we talk a little bit about how she got into it, how she was able to market herself, and really how she maintains balance too, because she has a full-time job. She is a small business owner, and she has another side hustle, not side hustle, but she has another passion that she does on the side that is really demanding. So we talk about how she balances all three of them, and all three, of course, take up a lot of her time. So even if you don't plan to be a wedding planner, I think that she gives practical tips that you can use in your business to get your name out there, help you get word of mouth, help you get exposure online, and help you just kind of think through like maybe some of the elements that you need for your business. So this is a really good episode. Can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. Before I begin, as always, wherever you're listening, if you could subscribe, that'll be great. And please rate me. iTunes 5 stars, YouTube thumbs up, Stitcher, I don't know what their rating is, but if you can rate me wherever you're listening and subscribe, that'll be amazing. Also, when you guys share the episodes, it really helps too. Thanks to everyone who's already done that. Okay, let's get to Lesley. Hello, Lesley. Welcome to the Studio 78 podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm really excited. So in the intro, I told people what a fabulous job you've done, or you did, for my book launch. So thank you again.
You're welcome. It was a great event. I loved it.
Yeah, and so I just can't wait. After you did my event, I'm like, oh my goodness, I gotta have her on the podcast, because I think a lot of times, most of my guests tend to be people who have already left their 9 to 5, and
Right.
I want to make sure I'm not unintentionally giving the message like, you need to leave your job.
Right.
Because there's so many people that have a 9 to 5, but then also, a side hustle, or, a full business. So, and it is funny because even like people who've left their 9 to 5 to start businesses even have side businesses to their business,
Right. Yeah, it's a constant hustle. It's just the way it is now.
Exactly. So I think I'm glad to have you on, because you're like proof, like, now you can have a 9 to 5 and then figure out how to make it all work. So before we get into Elegantly Charming Events, can you just tell the listeners a little bit about you before you decided to start it?
Sure. Yeah, so pretty much prior to doing Elegantly Charming Events, I still had a little bit of a side hustle. At that point, I was teaching Zumba, and I was working full time. So I've always been one of those people that like to get my hands in multiple things.
Mm.
So it really just depends on what I'm interested in at the time and just how much time I have. So at that time I was juggling, teaching fitness classes, and then also just working as a proposal manager. But I've always still had that passion for events, and I was always the main point person for my friends whenever we would do just outings, trips. So I always had that like inner event planner mode within me, and I'm just one of those people who always has a plan. A lot of my friends call me the schematic planner. So, because they're like, or my best friend, she calls me Allstate. She's like, I already know you already have it all together. So I don't need to look up anything. So it's just one of those things that it's always been within me. And I've always kind of, like I said, just been a planner by nature. So,
So
but I
how do
just used it
you
for different aspects. Go ahead.
mm, so how do you go from like, and I think like a lot of people struggle with this where you're like, oh, I'll help out a friend here and there doing this thing I love to, you know what? I think I'm going to charge for this.
Right. Yeah, that was a very, oddly enough, I will say I had a very good support system that would always be like, you know what, you should be a planner. People will pay for this. So they always kind of pushed me, even when I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe who would really want me to plan their stuff. But I would start out with just trying to help them. But then once my friends started to see, okay, yeah, she's serious now. She's established a business name, a company. She's got the website, and she's starting to actually put things into motion. We know if we ask her now, we're probably gonna have to pay for this. So,
Right, right. Like this is for real, for real.
right.
Right.
So they definitely utilized services beforehand, before I officially launched. But once I launched, everybody, I will say, they were very respectful, and they were like, "Oh no, I'll pay for it. Just let me know what I need to do," which made me feel good because I mean it's hard sometimes when it's friends because you want to give it away for free. Sometimes, but at the
Mhm.
same time, you have to look at how much goes into it on the back end, like the labor. And then when you have assistants, you need to be able to pay them as well. So you can't really give it away. And it's your talent. So you got to kind of, own that. So I'm
Mm.
very appreciative that I was around a group of people, or I am still around a group of people that understand that and they're not looking for the whole, oh, let me just get a discount. And I'm like,
Right.
so I'm
Everybody
definitely
wants the
grateful for
discount.
that.
Well, that's interesting. So, you mentioned, and I think sometimes people struggle with this too, is establishing yourself. So once you said, like, what, I think this is something that I want to turn into a business, what did that look like? Figuring out like all the things to do, and what did you do?
um, So I'm a person that really believes on, well, my family has pretty much taught me a lot about obtaining the educational piece to it. So for me, I decided to get certified as a wedding planner and event specialist. And I felt doing that, and having that certification behind my name, that shows potential clients that I invested in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also, I decided to do an internship with another small business that was in event planning, and just so I could start to see what I was really getting myself into, because
Mm-hmm.
event planning it's fun, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of juggling, and it's a lot of different pieces that people don't see. They always see, a lot of people see the end product, and they're like, "Oh, this is amazing. That looks so easy," but it's not always.
Or the
Not always
wedding
that easy.
planner with J Lo.
Right. Exactly. That's like my favorite. That's like my favorite. I could watch that movie so many times, but it's really not like it's not the glitz and the glamour. It is that's not what it is. But it's all worth it when you see your client's face at the end and they're smiling and you completely forget about everything else that happened behind the scenes.
Mm.
But yeah, so to establish myself, I got the certification, and then I just started researching, just trying to look online and see, okay, what's involved. And then I wanted to get the hands-on experience, which was the internship that I did. And then from there, after doing that for a couple months, I decided, okay, I'm ready. Let's see how this works. And I'm one of those people that are if I do anything, I'm a go big, go home type of person. So I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
go all the way to the max and
Right.
just see just see how it works out. So.
Hey, it's like you give it 100% because I feel like if you don't do that, then people are like, I wonder why this didn't work out. And it's like, because you gave it 50%, you
Exactly.
know?
And the worst thing could happen is that you fail, but you won't know unless you try. And even if you do fail, it's not really a failure. You just have to probably rework the plan a little bit and then just keep going and keep trying and you'll get there. So that's what
Mm.
I pretty much did. And then I did my first bridal show, which was the wedding experience, which was one of the bigger ones in the area. So that's what I meant by go big or go home. I was
Ooh.
like, okay,
Oh.
I'll just sign up for this
Oh,
and see
jeez.
what happens.
Oh, wow. And how did that go? Did that help get you like a lot of potential clients that year? Like, did you feel like it was worth the investment?
The one thing I can say is that when I did that show, they had a booth special called like a Fresh Finds for smaller companies. So the investment wasn't as large as more well established companies. So
Mm.
that really helped. What I did, I pretty much had a little booth. It's so funny when I look at my booth pictures from then and then I look at my booth now. It's such a, it's like, wow, my, have we grown here? um, like I just remember picking up stuff from Michael's and I was like, this will look cute. Let's just put
Right.
this on the table and just go with it. But pretty much, actually, it turned out pretty well. I was able to secure actually two clients from that
Mm.
event. And I remember asking them, like, okay, I told them, and I was very transparent that I was very new, but I was confident in myself and I knew I was able to be able to help them. And I remember one of the first clients that I spoke with during the consultation, she just mentioned to me, she was like, you just were so genuine and you were so kind when you were talking to me. I didn't feel like it was a sales pitch and it just made me feel very comfortable. And
Mm.
and she's like, and that's why I went with you. So it's just one of those things to where you just have to trust in yourself, excuse me, trust in yourself. And then by doing so, it, your vibration kind of like comes off of you, other people will see that and then they will feel comfortable and trust in you too.
Yeah. Wow.
That's what really was a blessing because it was like, I'm just here when they're like, oh, so how many weddings have you done? I'm like,
Well, actually,
like not officially, but some I've helped with. But
right, right.
but you just
And
gotta fit it and then make it work.
right. And then what year was this, just to give people some context?
This was 2014. Actually, no,
Okay.
sorry. I established in 2014. This was 2015.
2015. Okay. So it took you like a few months, I guess, to get, because like established was like the website, get incorporated, get your social media set up,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah. And even with the website, I did it myself. I was like, oh, I'm going to do everything myself. That's one thing I can say. That's okay. At the same time, I do feel that it is worth the investment to get a professional to do certain things, especially if you're not completely skilled at it, because at the end of the day, your business is your brand. So you want it
Mm.
to really show who you are. So yeah, that's one thing I was like, oh, I'm gonna do everything myself. And I did, and it worked. But once I started to see I was getting clients, I was like, okay,
Right.
time to switch this and go through a rebrand and just switch this all out.
Well, then, and at that point too, you'd start making money, right? And so you could invest back into the business also.
Exactly.
And then, so even on your website, you have like you won like Wedding Wire Couples Choice Awards in 17 and 18, and then you've also been mentioned in other kind of like wedding publications. So how did you get there? Like, because I think sometimes people struggle with that kind of marketing piece. So over the last couple of years, how were you able to like establish yourself? Because I know that plays into it too. Because when people do their research, the more places they see you, the more they're like, okay, this person is legitimate.
Right. Yeah, I definitely Reviews. The one thing I always try to get reviews for my clients, even down the, sometimes they're unable to do it right away. So I kind of will circle back around a couple months later, like, hey, can you do a review? And I just explain to them that it really helps future potential clients to see what ECE is about. And then it also, I mean, because I know when they were looking for me, they went to the same resource as well. I was looking on Wedding Wire. Word of mouth is another good thing. I'm starting to get clients that have attended weddings that I did. So, and that's what I actually have one this year. She attended a wedding that I did in 2016. So it kind of just circles back around. Um, and then for the publications, those were for styled shoots, which pretty much was a way of marketing yourself, but doing kind of having a vendor team and doing a mock wedding. So with the theme, and then we would put all the vendors together. And sometimes I would be on a team, and I did one to where we had our own. I established the theme, and then I had a vendor team. And then after that, the photographer will pretty much submit those photos to various blogs, and they'll get picked up. And then by doing that, that's another way for people to just kind of see your style, and it furthermore gets your name out there.
Yeah. Because it's all about the research now. And then when you see someone and you kind of resonate with them and you see like those glowing reviews, it just helps with that. Yeah.
Well, yes, definitely.
Question, like over the years, has the number of weddings you do a year increased, stayed the same? Because I assume like you probably charged a lower amount when you were first starting out, and then you increased your prices over time, which meant you didn't have to do as many weddings a year like you did before to make the same amount of money, so you could kind of like adjust. So I was just curious, did you still steadily increase the number of weddings you did, or did you go down because your pricing went up, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Yeah, so this year it has definitely been on the lighter side, which for me, due to my schedule, has actually worked a little bit. Um, and then last year was definitely a more busy, it was extremely busy. We had a lot of back-to-back weekends. And then the year before, um, it was a little lower. So it kind of goes up and down. But I will say, yeah, the very first year, I had about, I'm trying to think, I had 5 weddings the first year, and they definitely got in on a bargain price.
Right.
After after doing those and seeing how much work, I was like, oh no, no.
Yeah.
Have to go up. So yeah, definitely I will say when the price increased, it definitely did lower the number a little bit, but it helped me establish more of a clientele that I was looking for. So that's one of the things too. I knew upping the price would be a little bit of a risk because it would, but at the same time, you develop a different target audience, and you start to get more experience on different types of weddings.
And then how did you, because, that's pricing is another thing people struggle with. How did you figure out what your pricing should be like over the years?
Yeah, so I would definitely did some research and just started to see what the other local planners were charging. And then I was looking at that. I was looking at that based on the years of their experience as well, just to because sometimes people do want to justify the numbers of years you've been within the industry to understand why you are charging this amount. And then I was also looking at the various services that I offered versus what others were offering. And then also another factor was I have assistants, so I needed to be able to make sure that they are paid properly. So I kind of did all the math to where, okay, they can get paid properly. I can still have something for a little bit for myself, and then some can go back to the business as well, and just kind of divide it that way, and then just go from there. But yeah, like I said, the very first year, everyone pretty much in my mind, they got
They got for
it
free.
was like free.
Right.
It was definitely free.
And then into, what all does go into wedding planning? Because I think all of us out there, probably most of the listeners, we just have the J-Lo in our head from the wedding planner. And I know for sure it's not like that. So what is like the life of a wedding planner?
So pretty much, it really depends on what package the person goes with. Like we have several packages. We have day of coordination, partial planning, and full planning. The one that I'm finding that's popular these days is definitely day of coordination, because a lot of people are finding ways to do a lot of the planning themselves. And when I say themselves, they've already pretty much established their vendor list, they have their venue, and they just need help with, okay, putting together the timeline, or as well as just putting those final details together and making sure that there is someone there during the day behind the scenes moving everything around. So it really varies on the package level. And then partial, I'm finding there's some clients that there's definitely an audience for that, because there's a lot of people who are so excited about planning, and they get about halfway through and they're like, okay,
Overwhelmed.
this is too much. I need help.
Right.
That particular audience has pretty much found half of their vendors, and they just need that a little additional assistance trying to get all the way through. And then there's those who just don't want anything to do with it at all. They just want to tell you what they want, and you just build the dream up for them. So, and that involves finding the venue, putting together the color scheme, or helping them establish their color scheme, the design, timeline, making sure that all parties are properly communicated to, and those type of things. So it really just varies depending on the level of need from the particular couple at the time.
Yeah, and then so this year, of course, you did the book signing for me. So you're starting now also to get into just like event planning for, I guess corporate or just private events. So what made you decide to kind of delve into that world? Because that's like I would think it's like completely different from wedding planning.
Yes, it's definitely different. Because I wanted to get a little bit more of a variety and just test the waters on different events. Because I really feel that with weddings, they're pretty standard. So
Right.
as far as me being able to be creative, it's not really an option as much, just because couples have they have their vision, and what we do is just enhance and kind of build upon the vision that they've already established. I just feel that on the more social side, when it comes to book launch parties or just company launch parties, there's more room to be a little more creative. The client is more so open to your ideas, so it just gives you a little more flexibility, and just a different atmosphere and a different feel. So that's what I wanted to kind of just branch out in both. And also weddings, it's a little seasonal sometimes, but now, I mean, it's starting to spread all the way across the 12 months.
Right, right. Because people like are starting to go off season probably to save a
Hmm.
little money.
Right. So I just found that doing the other events, it kind of supplements the off season.
Yeah, and good guys out there, I mean, she was fabulous because I knew I was just like, I just don't want to deal with the details. I'm like, I just can't do it. And so when I saw that you had helped Sade for her podcast launch, fashionably, I always say the fashionably fit.
Yes.
It's like too many F's in there. Sorry,
Yes.
Sade. But when I saw that you did hers, I was like, oh my God, okay, I need Leslie to do my event so I just don't have to think about it. And you guys, she was so patient because she's working with a designer. So I'm all like, okay, well, I need this style photographer, this style videographer, these are the colors. So hopefully I wasn't too much of a nightmare.
No, no, no. It was good because it actually helped, because I find that when clients have more of okay, I know exactly what style I'm looking for, it makes it easier for us, because otherwise we're just suggesting a bunch of styles to you and it may not be what you really like. And at the end of the day, we want you to be happy, but you were very particular, which really helped. So it helped us focus our search better and looking for what you wanted.
So, and it's so funny too because So when I got married years ago, it was like in Indiana, and there was like, I think it was like a storm or something, but it took out the power at the wedding unit, or the wedding place that we were at. So when we first got there, we didn't even know if we were going to have power, and it was kind of like hot. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have all these people in this hot place. It was just crazy. But what I thought was funny is like, the for the book signing event, randomly out of nowhere, the East Coast had a windstorm.
Right.
Like, am I jinxed? So I was like, oh my God, are we going to have power? And then, like, a lot of my friends were out of power too, and they couldn't take showers that morning. I'm like, oh my God, is anybody going to come? Is this going to work? Is the venue going to be open? But Leslie was like, so calm. She's like, oh, don't worry, it'll work itself out. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm jinxed. Like, so I appreciate you keeping calm,
No
or keeping
problem.
me calm, because I was just like, oh man, because you think, like, you're like, oh my God, I've invested all this time, and you're like, is everything gonna go off, without a hitch? And yeah.
Right.
so
No problem.
so
That's
she
the
is
one thing I get
definitely
about.
a calming voice when you're dealing with an event, people.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I actually got that at work the other day because we are very busy with deadlines, and my coworker's like, "You're so calm. How do you just?" And I'm like, "I mean, it is what's going to happen is what's going to happen. So we might as well
Right.
just go through the steps. We're going to get there."
Yeah, and it's so weird because it's like in other aspects of my life, I'm like so lackadaisical. I'm like, da-da-da. But then there's just certain things, like, to me, like, that was like a huge deal, and I'm just like, no,
Right.
stay calm, stay calm,
Right.
no.
And that's what we're here for. Because it's like, I understand when my clients are like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And it doesn't mean that I'm thinking in my head, like, oh no, I still have my doubts too. I just don't show it sometimes because I'm still human at the end of the day.
Right,
So,
right, right.
but I just
But at
know
least
me.
you keep calm, like, regardless if you're
Yeah,
like, oh my God, I got to do all these things, because I feel like when someone else is freaking out and you're freaking out, that's like a dangerous combination, right?
exactly. And that's why I'm like, oh no, it's fine. And then sometimes in my head, I'm like, oh no, I don't have no idea. But we're just gonna pray. It's gonna work out. Just smile and be like, "Yep, gonna be fine."
Yes, I'm like, windstorm. What the heck is a
I
windstorm?
know, and it hasn't happened since. Like it was
I know. I was like, what is this? It's like straight out of M. Night Shyamalan, The Happening or something. I'm like, what's going on here?
right.
And another question I wanted to ask you is, how do you find balance? Because for those of you guys out here, you might not know, unless you know Leslie, of course, that she also competes. So you have a 9 to 5 job, wedding planning company, or event planning company, and you compete. How do you balance the three?
Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard, but it's one of the things with competing. It keeps me in the gym. So when I work out, it's a stress reliever. So that's one of the things that I always make sure I do. So it kind of balances the two other things out. And the way my schedule works, for when I'm in season, I'm at the gym twice a day. So I have to go in the morning, and then I have to go after work. So those two things are constant. So I kind of just try to plan things that are in the middle, like my work, my job, and then I work from home on Friday. So that kind of gives me a little bit of flexibility to kind of get multitask just a little bit more sometimes from home. And then as far as just trying to balance it all, I get this question a lot. I'm like, I have no idea. I just know I like to do all three. So I just put my best foot forward to be able to do all of them. And then I also know that it's good to take a break. I only compete for 6 months of the year. So, and then I try not to schedule too many weddings or too many events within those 6 months. Sometimes it's unavoidable. Last year, it was definitely unavoidable, and it definitely was a little hard.
Mm.
But my clients were very understanding, and they even went to the point to make sure I had special meals. Um,
Oh.
yeah. So I always, I just try not to schedule events so close to my shows. So this year, what I did is I picked out all my shows prior to booking any clients. So then I knew how to cushion my schedule. And I did the pretty much,
Oh.
so I have I'm done for this year. I'm not competing anymore this year, but I'm getting back on stage next year. And I already have my shows picked out. So that kind of will help me for when I'm booking clients for next year. And also, I do the 6 months at the beginning of the year, which is a little
Mm.
slower on the event planning side. So that kind of gives
Right.
me, yeah. So I've learned over the years, okay, everything, you can't do it all at one time. You got
Right,
to kind of
right.
spread it out. So once I learned the whole, okay, I'm only going to do compete for 6 months and then take the other 6 months off to kind of just build and just kind of get back into the swing of things. Um, that helped me establish, okay, it just helps me establish everything overall and help me realize, okay, you can plan this many events this in this period of time and be successful,
Hmm.
or and then you kind of have to hold back and pull back just a little bit this time as well, just to make sure your body's rested. Just because when you have your hands in that many things, sometimes you do forget about yourself. So
Yeah.
you got to make sure you take the time for yourself. So what I do is every Tuesday, I don't do anything. Like I
Mm.
don't do anything that's ECE related. My workout is a little lighter on Tuesday nights, and that's just my night to just disconnect. So I found
Hmm.
that when I found a day that where I can just close down a little bit. Of course, I can't close down at work. Gotta
Right, right.
that's like a non-negotiable there. So
Right.
so I found when I was putting in at least one day to just take for me, it made the rest of the days a lot easier to handle.
And for those people who are like, what is competing? I've
Hmm.
just thought about it. I'm like, some people are probably like, what does she mean? What's she competing for? Can you just explain what it is that you do?
Yes. So I am a bodybuilder. I compete in bodybuilding competitions. So pretty much when I'm on prep, I'm training for at least 8 to 12 weeks at a time to get on stage for, I want to say, 10 seconds.
Right, right. That's so crazy when you think about it. But it's like a wedding, right? You
Right.
gotta do all this planning for like 5 hours.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, get on stage for 10 seconds and then it's all over. And then I like to schedule my shows kind of close to each other. So then I'll do it all over again. But yeah, I do bodybuilding for fitness. And I just find doing that, it really, it's connected me with a lot of amazing people as well as help me stay physically fit and just
mhm.
help me realize like, okay, this is, for me, it's my stress reliever. So it's just one of
Right.
those things that I'm sure at some point I'll find another hobby.
Right, but right now, yeah. Well,
But
hey,
right.
you just got what, second place on the national stage, so I'm like,
Yes,
you might want to stick to this.
yes, yes, yes. The
Stick
goal is
with it.
definitely to go pro. Definitely missed it by 1 point this year, but just knowing that I'm that close knows that it's in reach at this point, so I can't
Nice.
stop. I have to keep going. So I definitely spoke with my coach about what shows that I wanted to do next year, and now we're just building and working towards that. And I'll get it, but I'm one of those things
Yeah.
that I believe that I'm one of those people that believe in, when the time is right, it'll
It'll
happen. You can't,
happen.
there's certain things you can't force.
Yeah, believe that 100%. And then as far as like keeping balance and just staying organized, like what kind of tools and resources do you use in order to like stay sane as we wrap
Hmm.
up here? Yeah.
Definitely, I have a planner to where I write. I'm one of those people that write everything out. I don't really like to
Mhm.
type out my plan. I know a lot of people use digital planners sometimes and notes within their phones. I just
Mhm.
like, I feel like if I write it, it's just, to me, it gets it. I just, so I can cross it off. That's one of the things
Mm.
I'm like, oh, I did it. Let me cross this off.
Like physically, like right,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
pen to paper. Yeah,
Yes.
it's just something about that. Yeah, I
Yes.
get you.
And then for business side, I use IO Planner, which is kind of a customer relations management system
Mm,
to where it streamlines everything from contracts, um, and those type of things. And then
mm,
also for Instagram, I use Latergram, or
mm,
now which is called Later, just because now I'm so happy they've released the feature to where it will automatically publish for you. So if
mm-hmm.
you just set the time, it'll just push it before through and it'll automatically publish. And that helps me stay off social media and I can
Yeah,
utilize my time.
yeah.
I can definitely utilize my time differently. So just little tools like that. And then for what I use sometimes for like graphics, I use Canva. But yeah, those are my essentials for right now that I've been using.
Mm. And then also, did you just have, if somebody's out there and they're like, oh my God, I want to be just like Leslie and be a wedding planner, any tips for people who are like, this is what I've always wanted to do?
hmm Be patient with yourself. It's not a race. Just know that there's going to be points to where you're just like, you're questioning everything like, well, is this really for me? Can I really plan someone's wedding? But just trust in yourself. And trust me, as long as you trust in yourself, everything else will unfold.
Hmm. And then you have to be like, would you consider yourself like type A, like super duper organized? Or would you classify yourself as, something different?
I will definitely say when I first started, I was type A. But the
Okay.
one thing that I've learned about running a company, you got to be flexible. So you just have to be, just because it's not always going to work that way. So you have to just learn to, take a step back and then kind of rework the route. You'll get to the
Hmm.
same destination and just might need to go a different way.
Right, right. Yeah, it's like having that structure, being super organized, but just allowing for that flexibility.
Yes. And then it's the
Yeah.
same thing because being type A and dealing with a lot of different brides, it does not always mix because if you get a
Right.
bride that is type A too, it's not going to
Right.
work.
There would be, yeah, that it could be disastrous.
Yes. So you have to kind of like know when to step back and kind of know when to step forward at the same time.
Ah, yeah, no, that's great. And then just a couple of wrap up questions. How do you stay motivated?
Well, I find that when you're doing something that you truly love, you're always going to kind of just want to keep going towards it. So,
Hmm.
and that's one of those things to where it's kind of like where you find your purpose, it'll constantly
Hmm.
drive you. Even on the days where you feel like your gas tank is empty, there'll be a
Hmm.
there'll be something that'll kind of keep you, that's like pulling and tugging at you,
Yeah.
and you'll just keep going. And like sometimes I get messages from people. They're like, "Oh, you inspire me," and I'm like, "Me?
Right.
Like, really?" So just knowing that there are some people who are out there watching you, even if you don't know them, and you're able to
Yeah.
kind of touch a part of them, that'll keep you moving.
No, I think that's great. And then too, I feel like especially if you're doing this on the side, like you want something that you find fun and that you're passionate about, that is interesting to you too. Because I think sometimes people are like, "Oh, I'll just do anything to make money," which is like, it's like, okay, that's fine if it's like you're being like a Uber or a Lyft driver and you just need to pay some bills. But
Right.
if it's right, which I totally get. I'm all about, those quick side hustles to
Exactly.
get that free or, go to Bora Bora, whatever you're trying to do. But I feel like when you start a business, like it's just like you do want it to be something that you like, right? And that helps
Right.
keep you motivated and keep you going. What is one thing that you cannot live without?
I know this may sound weird, but the gym.
Oh.
But I'm like, well, maybe it doesn't sound weird because it's funny because people who know me, they can always tell when I have not been to the gym. They're like, "Ooh, you're a little cranky," and I'm like, "I know, I need to go work out." And then I come out and I'm like, "Hi, you guys," and they're like, "What just happened here?"
You're like a Snickers commercial, right?
Yes. Okay, like I just
I mean, can
need
I
to have
just get a little? I just need like a little percentage of that. When I even think about it, Jim, I'm like, let me eat a cookie.
right. But like sometimes, like now that I'm in my off season, and I was just telling someone that yesterday. I was like, I'm only doing cardio right now because I just kind of want some cookies. So I'm
Right,
like,
right. And then please just tell the listeners all the places they can find you: website, social media, events, anything you'd love to share.
so you can find Elegantly Charming Events on Instagram at Elegantly Charming Events. Same thing with Facebook at it's Elegantly Charming Events, and then the website is elegantlycharmingevents.com. Try to make it very easy.
Right.
Keep it,
Genius.
yes.
Keep I always tell people, if you can, try to keep all those social media handles all the same,
Correct.
just makes it easier. Well, thank you, Leslie. I'm glad we got to catch up.
Yes, it was great. Thank
I mean, okay, gold, right? Love Leslie. She's so pleasant to work with. I'm telling you guys, if you all have an event, you have a wedding, hire Leslie. She is on point. She is professional. She is worth every single penny. Promise you. But I just want, as a wrap up here, she said one quote that I want to pull out, and I want you guys to take it with you today. And she said, the worst thing that can happen is that you fail, but you won't know unless you try. And even if you do fail, it's not really a fail. You just have to rework the plan a little bit and just keep going and keep trying, and you'll get there. And I want you guys to hold on to this, because when I talk to a lot of folks, that failure, the fear of failure, holds them back from even trying something. And all you can do is try. So what if it doesn't go right the first time? It is not the end of the world. You will have another chance to make it right. So she drops a lot of golden nuggets in here about how she, really got that word of mouth going, and, even the importance of testimonials and all that other good stuff. But I just want you guys to hold on to that. All right. All right. So as always, please rate and subscribe wherever you're listening to this. Remember, you could use SNOW, SNOW, on SW Basics to get 15% off if you want to try some organic facial products. And also, remember, on my website, if you're thinking about starting a business, I have all kind of resource pages for you guys for free. So just head on over to nishasnow.com. I've got a bookshelf with some of the best books in the industry. I've got business resource page, design resource page, photography resources, web resources, all free. I've got some links over there that you can click on to find, the best tools that work for you. And of course, if you're thinking about how to brand something, grab my free branding guide. All you have to do is text the word branding, BRANDING, to the number 444999. That's text the word branding to 444999. All right. That gets you a free branding guide, and it also lands you on my email list. So anytime I create any other new guides, launch products, whatever, you'll be the first to know. All right, guys, have a beautiful week, and I will be back next week with another amazing guest. All right. Take care. Bye.